Okay, so you heard chapter 1, and we are going to start with chapter 2. In chapter 1, we learned about Medi, and she is going to be the main character of our story. And yeah, you're going to figure out what's going on and where everything ties together. Just follow along. A lot of the things that happened to Medi in that first chapter are still things that happen a lot of times with women, and I felt it very important and just purely natural to add them to the story. If you find the idea of a man sexualizing a 12-year-old girl, go ask one of your female friends the first time a man sexualized her, and it would shock you. I wish it wasn't that way. I wish that we did live in a world with less sexualization and objectification of women, but that still exists. It is something that we're more socially aware of now and we try to reduce, but it still exists. And the way we can change that is by becoming aware of it and making conscious adjustments. And I think that's one of the advantages we have in our society now, that we can understand. To be socially aware is important, and to become better people, we have to make those changes not only on an individual level but on a social level. And now in the world that we're in, socialization is globalization, so we need to be making and thinking about what we see in the world around us and how it's okay to be different, and it's okay to, want things, but it's also, you have to remember that the rest of the world is filled with humans too. And they may not look like you, they may not act like you, they may not be your same sex, but that doesn't mean they're any less. They're still human, and they deserve respect. That is another thing in there. Medi has a terrible situation where she realizes people are staring at her, but she has no way of knowing why. And what a common social anxiety a lot of individuals deal with is going out into the world and realizing people are looking at them, wondering what people are thinking about them. And even in that situation where you would automatically think because she's beautiful, she would know it, she would be confident about it, and it wouldn't be a social anxiety. And that can be far from the truth, far, far from the truth. Social anxiety has so many facets, and it is an interesting situation. So we got our first glimpse of Medi, and chapter 2 is about making your own path. Medi, what have you done? Her father cried out. I have listened to my calling. But you're betrothed. You can't do this. Why not? She protested. You did not ask if I wished to be married. You're a woman. You grow up, marry, have children, so they grow up, marry, and have children. But I choose not to marry. Why? Because I don't like being sold as a goat. You are young, Medi. Do not make such decisions so lightly. At least it is mine to make. You are right. Excuse me. At least it is mine to make. You sold me to Alcibiades without even asking me. His shoulders slumped in shame. You're right. I am sorry, but the contract is made. I think pledge to a god outweighs a mortal contract, replied the priestess. He nodded again, unable to make eye contact. Perhaps, said the priestess, we can find a middle ground. When is she betrothed to be married? No later than her 16th year. Then let her join us till then. Her virtue will be protected, and she will have a place to grow and learn. Medi looked hopeful at her father, but if she refuses to marry after that time, then the temple will pay for any monetary loss, the priestess replied. Both Medi and her father looked at the priestess in awe. The temple offered to pay her dowry was very unorthodox. What did the priestess know that they did not? For a moment, Medi wondered if this was the priestess that had visited her so long ago. Her father spoke. I cannot agree without Alcibiades' approval. As I said, a contract has been made. Steno nodded. Bring him here. He will come to an agreement. Medi stood outside the room once again, listening to the others argue her fate. She wrung her hands and paced back and forth, only stopping when another priestess entered the room to fetch a scroll. The priestess paused. Are you well? Medi stared at the priestess, unsure what to say. The priestess smiled and approached her. She was tall and aquiline, like Steno, the high priestess, with the same dark olive skin and amber eyes. Medi recalled her name was Uriel. Her head quirked to one side. Perhaps some wine. She poured Medi a cup and offered it to her. Medi took it and sipped. Better? Medi nodded. Uriel softly jerked her head in the direction of the loud arguing. Why are they so mad? Medi sighed. I'm trying to choose my own path. Good for you, Uriel declared. Medi blinked in surprise. Truly? Absolutely. Let me guess. The really loud one wants you to be their wife. Medi's head dropped and she nodded lightly. Uriel encouraged Medi to take another sip. Men, always thinking they can decide our fate. Medi swallowed. I've been through this. Danae said fate may be decided, but we can choose the path. Even better, we can decide how the story is woven. Woven? Uriel nodded, reaching towards a wall hanging. Our fates are woven together in a great tapestry. Her fingers ran over the specific thread, and there's a warp and a weft. But what strands we add, what choices we make complete the story. She stretched out the fabric, and they could both fully see the story of Athena's birth. Many gazed at the tapestry, seeing Zeus coupling with a woman adorned in a tusked helmet and a spear, much like Athena's. She also stood with an owl and a snake entwined around a spear. It clearly was not Hera, Zeus's known wife. The next scene showed the woman standing at odds with Zeus. They fought. The next scene showed the woman gone and Zeus snatching a flying bug out of the air, then swallowing it. In the final image, Zeus sits crouched over in pain as Hephaestus cracks open Zeus's head to reveal Athena, fully grown and adorned with with the original woman's armor. In that final scene, Medi looked closer, noticing that that the owl was lighting on Athena's shoulder. As the owl was alighting on Athena's shoulder, the snake was slithering off the tapestry. She puzzled at the snake, curious to where it was going. Uriel gently touched Medi's shoulder. Not a common story. Medi shook her head. No. Who is this woman? Medi shook Metis, a Titan, first wife of Zeus. First wife. Not many speak about her. Though she married Zeus in hope of solidifying power between the Olympians and the older gods, Zeus betrayed her. But she is the mother of Athena? Uriel grinned. You keen that? Athena is wearing her armor in the image, but the helmet Athena wears now is different. Uriel nodded. Athena felt it wise to fashion her armor to that of the people, so they know she is their ally. Where did the snake go? She had work to do. The yelling in the other room had stopped, and the group emerged. Medi held her breath. Steno gave her an affirming nod. It has been decided. You will remain with us. Until your 16th year, Alcibiades gruffed. Steno gave a polite bow of acknowledgement. Alcibiades left. Medi's father approached her. This is your wish? It is. He patted her hand gently, then let go. He gave an affirming nod to Steno that the cell was complete. Now, no longer obligated, he departed without another thought. Okay, so a short chapter, but that is chapter 2. And I would like you to go ahead and share, like, check out the other chapters. If you have any questions or comments, please add them. And we'll see you next week.